Hello, coach. Oh, now, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Good morning, coach. Mr.
Morning.
Garren Holley. How are you, sir?
Good. How you been?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a while, but you still look good.
Yes, it has.
You're still in shape, huh?
Am I still in shape?
Mm.
Probably not, but I'm not too far out of shape, I guess.
Uh, you're in
So living
Munich, right?
bad life. Yeah, I'm in Munich. Got back in 2017. So
How is the situation right there with COVID?
probably the toughest lockdown in Europe. We've been locked down since November, and they made it stricter probably halfway through the month. We got till February 14th before they make another decision whether they lighten it up or what. So you can really only meet with like one other person, and it's just a bunch of strict rules. But it is what it is. Life's not too bad. So.
Mm. And how is the training? Can you guys train? Can you guys go to the gym?
No. So we had to stop training at the end of October when the lockdown started in November. So we just do Zoom meetings online. Everything's online for us. Our import QB is our strength coach, so he has a program that he sent out. Our guys are following their own programs, but we're in contact with our groups, with our team. Position coaches are doing a great job. So we're just doing as much online meetings as possible and trying to keep guys motivated.
Damn, I'm sorry for you, coach. So when does the season start? Probably in April?
Everybody's dealing with it, so it is what it is. So that's at least the thing. Everyone's kind of in the same position. So the season's supposed to start in June. Okay. That's the plan.
Okay. For how many years are you now the head coach? Because you used to be the defensive coordinator, right?
Yeah, I did the DC thing for 2 years in 13 and 14, and then I came back as head coach in 2017. So
what's
this is going on year 5.
Was that your first head coach position?
Yeah, this is my only. Yeah. Munich's been good.
Is there a big difference between being a defensive coordinator and a head coach?
Well, I'm still the DC as well, so I do both. So I mean, the biggest thing is being as a head coach is essentially you're accountable for everything now. When just the DC, it's only one side of the ball, and it's only the players on one side of the ball. But now, once you're head coach, you're responsible for everybody. You're accountable. You're fired. Essentially, for anything really. It's everything is your decision, and you got to be responsible for it. And that's just the nature of the business. It's management and all the other things that come with it.
Tell me a little bit how you came to coaching, because you used to be a player, of course. Tell me the transition from your starting career as a football player, how you became a coach, and how did you move to Europe?
To keep it nice and sweet, I essentially grew up in Newport News, Virginia, for the youth of my life. My parents were in the Army, so we actually did live in Germany when I was young, and my sister was born here. But I started playing when we moved back to the U.S., so I grew up a quarterback, actually. I was from the area where Michael Vick is from, and some other notable black quarterbacks from the East Coast. So I was kind of in that little groove of young black kids growing up to be quarterbacks. And you're idolizing guys like Vick and Warren Moon and Randall Cunningham, and all those guys. So essentially, I was on a good track. I moved to Wisconsin in 7th grade. Still played quarterback during that time. Moved to Missouri my freshman year of high school. That's when my quarterback career kind of took a stop, I guess. If you want to put it in realistic terms, I was in an area where there were not going to be any black quarterbacks, if we're just being honest. It didn't matter how good I was. It just wasn't going to happen there, which was okay because I've always been a team guy, whatever needs to be done. I always played defense too. So it wasn't an issue because, just personality-wise, I'm going to play either way. So I actually transitioned to defense full time. I think after my sophomore year, I believe, or junior year, I transitioned to defense full time. I
Mm.
was playing safety, safety and corner. Got my first varsity action as a junior or as a sophomore, actually. Got hurt my junior year, missed most of the season, but came back at the end of the season. I dislocated my elbow.
Ooh.
So I missed most of the season with that injury. Came back early and played our playoff games, and we got knocked out. Had a good senior year, though. Moved down to outside linebacker, actually, in a 3-4 scheme as a small guy, just from pure mentality and athleticism and smarts. I was able to find a home at that position because no one else could really do it on the team. So, yeah, I had a good year as an outside linebacker. Got recruited by a lot of NAIA schools. So, you can kind of always say it's essentially talent-wise, it's between Division II and Division III because they can offer football and academic money. So they're not really limited on what they can offer a player. So I had most of my offers from there. I had a lot of walk-on offers at some bigger schools. I also ran track. So I was really good in track. So I had some offers from some bigger places, but football being my first love and really only love, I chose to go to Missouri Valley College. And so it's in the middle of Missouri, near University of Missouri and Central Missouri, in between those two universities. It was one of the premier NAIA schools in the country, one of the most winningest programs in the country at that level. So I got to play for Paul Troth and Monty Rowe. Monty Rowe was our DC. Paul Troth was the head coach. Had spent 5 years there. I spent 3 as a player. Really 3 as a player, and then 1.5 as a student coach.
Already.
In layman terms, yeah. So I started coaching the spring of my 4th year. I kind of did the lazy thing when I got to school. I was ineligible quite a bit, just being lazy with my academics. I come from a pretty tough military family, and it's just one of those things. You get to college, you get on your own. So I was the opposite of most kids. I went to class, but I just wouldn't turn in any work. So it's like I learned, and teachers liked me, but I was just being lazy. Like I had an issue with just starting papers. I could finish them, no problem, but I would just be lazy. So I took a semester off my 4th year to get my shit together, essentially. Like I said, I come from a tough family, and I talked to my parents, and they're like, well, you can't come home. So figure it out, or, find somewhere else to live. You're not coming back here. So some tough love got me back to reality, essentially. So I finished out the next 1.5 years as a coach instead of coming back and playing. I wanted to just kind of get my education done. But I knew I couldn't live without football. And I knew I've always known the game of football like the back of my hand. It's always come to me very easy. So I spent 1.5 years as a student coach. I got my shit together. I graduated. I went to become a graduate assistant at Peru State College in Nebraska, Peru, Nebraska. That's where James Craig, who eventually hired me to Munich, that's where he was the DC. And that's where Ryan moved. Yeah, so that's also where Ryan went to college as well. Okay. So there's the connection that essentially got me to Europe. So I was at Peru State. Some stuff happened there with my academics from my previous endeavors to where I lost that job, actually. Just some stuff from, again, being lazy early in college kind of came back to bite me in the ass. So I actually lost that job, had to move home, and I worked overnight at a grocery store that my sister helped me get a job there. And I finished my degree, my college degree. The issue that I got that sorted out. So I had to kind of start all over again. I had to find a new opportunity to keep my coaching career, my foot in the door. So I took a volunteer job at Sumner High School in St. Louis, Missouri. So essentially, if you've ever seen the movie Gridiron Gang, with The Rock and all those guys, they're coaching in the hood, and like it's. So I did that for free. I literally picked up my life, moved to St. Louis. I lived with a friend from college. I was sleeping on I was staying at his parents' house, and then I had to move in with his sister and her husband and daughter, and I was sleeping on the couch. Like I literally was like homeless and like roughing it, like in coaching at an inner city high school and working another full-time job on the side. So I sucked that up for like a year and did that. Got offered to come back to my alma mater, Missouri Valley, be a graduate assistant and work on my master's. And then I was able to coach as well. So I did that for another year. And then I went to Minot State, which is a Division II school in North Dakota. Did that for a season. Then that's when I get the call from James Craig. So actually 2 or 3 years after meeting James Craig, having that opportunity, I get to come to Munich in 2013. And then it was all just kind of a wrap from there. I came here in 13, didn't know anything about European football, really. Knew a few guys from college that came out here to play, but still didn't really know much. Just kind of took everything on the fly. Again, like I said, I've always had just a knack for the sport. So I was able to come in. We were able to turn things around. James had been here the year before, and they just avoided relegation that year. So we came in the next year and made it to the playoffs in the first round against Dresden. Got introduced to big boy North football. So that was quite the experience. I got offered to come back in 2014, came back in 2014. Again, we made the playoffs, and now we face Braunschweig, first round of the playoffs. So got introduced to how it rolls against Braunschweig. So, so after that year, after your conversation with Parker, that he, you kind of know what happened in 2014, because I think that's when I met you for the first time.
Yeah.
Would have been 2014.
It's a long time
so you
ago.
kind of know how that went. I know, bro, time flies, right? That's essentially how I came to Europe. And then after 2014, when we were kind of like, F it, we're out, just things at the time with management, we all kind of collectively felt, things weren't going to go the direction they needed to go for us to continue the success we're having, or to at least beat these top teams that we're seeing in the first round. Like it's not comfortable just to make the playoffs and get beat. You know what I mean? Like it's not an ideology I have come bringing my whole life over here, wanting to be great, wanting the team to be great, just to be like, oh, well, we'll make the playoffs and we'll play Braunschweig, Dresden, and we'll be okay if we lose. No, that's not okay. Like we're gonna be a good team. We're gonna be a playoff contender. We're gonna beat these teams. Like it's not okay just to make it and get beat. Yeah. Like that's not okay. So some things happen where there were some issues, and James kind of got did wrong. There are just some people in place, kind of how Euroball goes. There's some people who will mess with your career at the end of the day if you allow it. So essentially some things like that happened, and then we're kind of like, well, we're not coming back. So Parker and everybody went up to Kiel. He actually did reach out and invited me to come up and take that job as well as the DC. But at the time, I had just gotten a job in the U.S. at Presentation College, NAI school in South Dakota. So I didn't want to leave that opportunity because my goal was essentially now become a DC in the U.S.
You missed the Euro Bowl ring.
Huh?
You missed the Euro Bowl ring.
Yeah, no, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But yeah, so essentially did that, and I was there for 3 years at Presentation. I did spend the summer of 2015 in Finland with the Vasa Royals as the DC. That's where I met my fiance, baby mama. So I met her there that summer, and then we were apart for 2.5 years until I took the Munich job, and then she moved down here in 2018. So that's essentially how I got back here, man. I never thought I was going to come back after 2014.
Really?
Love as it gets a lot of us imports back to Europe, or never leaving Europe. You fall in love and start a family. So it was blessed. Munich's always given me great opportunities.
Nice, yeah. I think Munich, especially the Cowboys, have like almost all pieces to be like one of the top contenders. I think like maybe it's just hard to connect it, or people are just in the wrong places to able to connect it, or they don't see the big picture. I don't know what's the problem, but
to be honest, there's our president Vernon Meyer has been like the staple of our management. Like he's been here in the management longer than anybody else. We've had a revolving door in a lot of positions. We've made a lot of really good changes in the last year, 2 years. But it's been a long running management group of people in certain positions that or really that have the foresight, to push things to the next level and not be complacent or just being okay with how things are. Like I said, we're getting better. We're getting the right people in, but that's been an issue for a long time. We've just been lacking some of that in the management. Obviously, we've never landed that huge sponsor that allows us to always, like, we're financially well. We're okay. We do well, but we don't have that New Yorker. We don't have that Dacia. We don't have that name brand sponsor that's pumping in, an outrageous amount of money. So that's always becomes an issue because as populated as Munich is, we're not populated with really big linemen. So like that's usually been, from a player standpoint, our issue is like a massive group of guys up front. There are just so many. There's a lot of guys, but they're spread out in all these lower leagues, and then there's a lack of ambition to play at the highest level. So we kind of face that in the area with just some guys that don't have the balls to want to play at a high level and be coached hard. They want to be what we say a weekend warrior. They just want to show up, smoke a cigarette, and say they're a football player, but they don't really want to be a football player. So that's an issue we have in the area as well.
And was one of the major changes you made after you became the head coach? Because Stephen Parker told me when you become a head coach, you have to change everything. You have to change your crew. You have to change like all coaching staff, and you just bring a new mentality in. So what did you change, and what is the difference between you and JC Craig?
I think JC had been out here long enough. He'd been out here for quite some time. He'd been coaching US, Europe, like year round. So for me, I was just trying to be a sponge and just kind of soak everything up I could off him and just learn. Because again, you truly cannot coach out here like you would coach in the US, just because the guys are full-time job. Some got full-on families, and the university system's different. Like we're practicing at 7:30 at night instead of 3:00.
Yeah.
So the day is different. We're only practicing twice a week. At least here, we don't have legitimate meeting space. So it's hard to hold like legitimate meetings and film. At least we have huddle. You can coach over it. There's a way around it if you're smart about it. So, I mean, what differs from me and JC is just maybe sometimes it's just youth and new blood. But like I said, he still lives here. I still talk to him all the time.
Oh, he still lives here.
That's what he was saying. He's married. And he's a golf instructor. That's what
he's a golf instructor, but Parker, he's somewhere in the Alps teaching golf. I'm like, wow. Okay.
He's here. He lives 10 minutes from me. Like we just hop on the tram and here. Yeah. So him and his wife have watched our son. They were the first people to watch our baby. So no, we're still very close. So there, I wouldn't say there's much in difference besides just some new blood type of thing. I learned so much from him. And still can reach out to him and get advice and things. But my approach when I came back was I knew what it took for us to win and be successful here from both sides of the ball. I knew the approach that we needed to take with the players in our area. And then I think my demeanor is people that know me know I ride the line between being a player's coach and then being an asshole. Like I can ride the line where what I love about Parker is he's just 100%. Like, like he's coming for you. It's his way or the highway, which I respect a lot. Like there's times where that's one of my weaknesses is I don't do that enough sometimes. And that I think that gets me in trouble sometimes. But I think that's why we were a very good yin and yang when we were working together, because how his approach and my approach were they worked off each other, especially our coaching styles and our schemes, which is why we were very good that year. We were able to hold teams to very little points, and we were able to put up a lot of points. It wasn't a lopsided relationship between offense and defense. So essentially, I just came in. I got wind that the previous two head coaches kind of ruined their relationship with the youth teams and then our second team. So everyone was kind of like their own little team instead of like one group looking to be the best program. So I came in with the goal to fix that. fix the relationship with our kids to where either they go to college in the U.S. or they stop playing because they have university goals. Like they don't quit us, go to another club. Like that doesn't happen. That's not happening. We have a ton of kids in the U.S. right now in our junior programs at high school and college. We're not losing kids to other programs. They're staying here. They're becoming Cowboys, or we're sending them to the U.S. With our second team, they were operating kind of as their own at the time because of the fractured relationship. So built that relationship back up over a few years, got some people out who were the problem, and we consolidated it as now we run as one men's program that has two teams. It's no longer this team and this team. It's one seniors program, and then come time, everyone knows where they split. If you're not in the GFL team, you know you're on the second team, but you know you're not stuck unless you want to be. If you don't have any ambition to play GFL, that's fine. But if you have that ambition, we're going to coach you up. We're going to work together as one. So that was my biggest thing, was just fixing the fractured relationships. I understand the culture here, but I implemented my own culture of accountability, discipline, communication. Those are the big three things that I talk to the guys about always. They got to hold each other accountable. You know, they're only going to be as good as our backups. So guys got to be at practice, and we got to encourage each other to be better. So those are the things that I focused on when I came. And year one, we took our lumps. We played with who we had. Year two, we took our lumps, but then we rallied back and made the playoffs. Played Braunschweig in the first round. Year three was probably the strongest the roster's ever been, but the injury bug just absolutely killed us right before the season started, and it didn't stop. So we were competitive in a lot of games, but did enough that we kept losing to teams we shouldn't lose to. Fought back at the end of the year to stay out of relegation. So year three, we left a really bad taste in all of our mouths because we knew how good we were. We just, honestly, just injuries and just underperforming, period. Just in all honesty, that got us in trouble in 2019. So 2020 COVID. So we actually got stronger and better during COVID. Our roster is huge. We averaged over 100 guys at practice in the winter. Right after COVID started, we were still pushing like 80 at practice. And then before COVID ended everything again in November, I think we were still pushing 60 to 80 guys in practice. So, I mean, we were not missing a beat. So we actually got stronger. We got deeper. The coaching staff is at 19 right now. And that's with 16 of those coaches working for free.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So, I mean, I tell people all the time, there's two ways you can go about it when you take over a program. You can come in and you can nuke everything and tell the management, it's this, what, if you want us to win this year, I need these things. Like there's no excuse. It is what it is. And that's the approach that I would have taken if that's what I thought the expectation was from the club. If they wanted us to be in the championship this year, I'm like, I would need this, and this paid for. I would need this, and this paid so we can get these people. And if that's not going to happen, I'm not taking the job. But I came in with the idea to build a program. So the management knew this. The management has given me that freedom, or at least the time to do it. So, So that's two ways you can go about it. You can nuke everything and say, this is what it is. This is what I need. Or you can come in and just trim the fat slowly, work on things in a slower pace, work on things year by year. And eventually you're going to hit that peak. So that's in a nutshell, me talking a lot.
Interesting. Okay. I hope everything is going to work out. Do you guys have imports right now?
Yeah, so our quarterback, Justin Sotoler, we re-signed him. He was supposed to start with us last year, but he lives in Munich. So we got lucky, again, with guys living here. So we re-signed him. Ryan Newell is close to re-signing, hopefully. He just had his daughter, so he's making the transition into fatherhood and parenthood. So him and his wife got their hands full with a beautiful little girl. So hopefully sooner than later, he's either going to be on board or, we're going to have to move forward. We re-signed our DB, Armando A.J. Smith. He was in Albershausen in 2019. Then he was with us last year. And then we'll we'll sign a new receiver. Can't name yet, but he'll come from the U.S., Division I guy. He's got a lot of potential, came highly recommended to us. Then we also have Brandon Watkins, who we signed as well. Running back, quarterback, can do everything. Has been with the Munich Rangers for quite some time. Played in Brazil, former rugby guy out of college. Explosive, probably one of the fastest guys in all of Europe, to be honest with you, that I've seen in person, that I can say.
Okay.
He's explosive. He's tough as nails. He gives us added weaponry on the offense. So we're looking to be strong. We have all of our GFL German All-Star guys are back. Jaska Bartz at corner, Kai Silverman at receiver. We got a really good receiver we're looking to showcase from our second team, Lucas Salvo. We got some more guys on the defense that we've added.
And you have a new running back, right? From Vienna.
Yeah, Marco Gajic.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Marco's on board with us too. I mean, so our issues in the O-line seem to be corrected and fixed. We got some veteran guys back on board. We've got some new blood who's really pushed these veteran guys, which is really good. So our numbers are probably the best they've ever been in that group. Again, we just got to keep them consistent at practice and healthy. So, I mean, again, year 3, we looked strong, but got beat up early. Year 4, going into year 5 now. I mean, we're on paper, again, we're like crazy good on paper. Crazy, scary good on paper. So, again, it's just always about, can we perform? Can we not beat ourselves and do stupid shit and play good football and not be sloppy at times. But no, we look strong, man. Like, we got stronger in 2020. There's no doubt about that.
Now imagine you have no cap, no limitations. What positions would you also bring in?
So again,
so you think you can win 100%?
I mean, can we win 100% with who we have? Yes. I'm always confident that we can create a proper scheme, and then we can keep it simple enough that we can go out and execute, and we have enough weapons that we can score, and then we're good enough on defense that we can hold teams to the proper point total to be able to outscore a team or just completely to dominate a team. But if we positions that we would still possibly bring someone in if the opportunity is there, it was probably going to be someone on the D-line, on the interior. We need some meat. We need some meat on the interior of the D-line if we can't pull some big guys from these smaller teams around us. Other than that, we're pretty good in the linebacking group with our GFL level talent. The secondary, maybe a corner, maybe a guy that can get us some depth at corner, but play offense as well. We're loaded at receiver, absolutely loaded. Tight ends, we're good. O-line, like I said, we're looking better than we have been, but we just got to keep developing there. Quarterback, obviously, we're going to be okay. We got some young guys at quarterback that we're developing as well that have worked really, really hard last year. That have gotten so much better. Running backs, we look pretty solid at running back again. Yeah, I'd probably say interior D-line. To get a big playmaking tight end would be real nice too. But we feel confident with what we have. Obviously, if we get a couple more spots that we can bring some EU guys in or something, then there's some areas that we would look at like, okay, let's just drop the hammer and be dominant in these areas, But yeah, I mean, like we feel good with the roster that we have. But obviously, there's always going to be room to bring cats in, right? Like there's some people who may not have fully earned their spot. They just are lucky that there's no one good enough behind them, So that's always a thing in Europe. Some guys get that false confidence just because their backup really isn't that good. So it's like you're lucky. You're just lucky. And then we have some positions where guys can't make mistakes because if anyone that's played for me knows, I will replace you like real fast, like especially on defense. Like we have it all the time. August is vacation time in Bavaria. Guys decide to take a vacation in August. They let their backup start because they're gone. So the backup has 2 good games. They come back from vacation. Well, guess who's not the starter anymore? Period. Like you messed up. He's good enough to win and take your job. You can't leave. So guys have learned that throughout the years, and less guys take their trips during the vacation time now because they know their ass is going to get replaced.
I love this. I love this approach because I've never seen a team, especially in Austria, where one player makes a mistake and he's getting replaced. Never,
It's
never.
just, yeah, it's just one of those things, man. It's some coaches live in like, I'm not perfect. There's some guys who I have let slide, of course, like it happens. But at the same time, I do at least try to hold up to my word to where if you're not doing what we ask you to do, you're going to be replaced. Like I will take the loss if I have to, because I sat my best guy because he doesn't want to follow the rules. We don't have a lot of rules. So then it's just you being an asshole. We don't ask much of you. So if you can't do A and B and that's all we're asking, then you did this to yourself. That's my opinion. But yeah, it's a tough thing as a coach is to hold yourself accountable. If you say this is the punishment for X, Y, and Z, or not even punishment, but just this is what's going to happen, and you can't hold up your end of the bargain, the players will walk all over you. They know you're full of shit. So yeah, it's just discipline, and are you going to hold true to your word at the end of the day?
So, Coach, you've been in Finland, in the States, and in Munich, in Germany. Tell me, how was your experience as a black man, as a black coach? Because I know it's different, because I know it's different as a player here in Austria, and I'm born here, but it's still different. So tell me, what was your experience through your football career as a black man? Did you notice, and do you still notice any difference?
I mean, so growing up, I grew up in an area where there are enough minorities to where, you know, you're young and you're still naive about enough, but you see things, you know things. You know, you understand racism at an early age. You understand the stupid little jokes, that you get, from someone that's not of color. You kind of navigate how you handle it. You get some instruction so I come from a mixed family. My dad's white, my mom's black, but my biological father's black. So my sister's mixed though, but my dad's been there my whole life. So I don't differentiate it, right? Like he's my dad. So I at least grew up in a household of mixed race. So for me, I at least had an understanding, and it was never a weird thing because I was around a white person, all the time. But you kind of learn how to handle it from other people. So my youth teams are always fairly mixed, black, white, Mexican, whatever. So that was never really a thing. Growing up as a black quarterback, I was at least in an area where there were black quarterbacks. So again, it wasn't really an issue until even when I got to Wisconsin, it wasn't an issue. I won the job in 8th grade. I won the job my freshman year, beat out all white kids, so still never really an issue until I got to Missouri. And I was in a suburb of Kansas City, but it was a suburban high school, predominantly white high school. And that's when it kind of, in life pertaining to football, I noticed I was going to get fucked. Like I saw it coming, so I get there, I'm a freshman. One of my best friends to this day was actually like my rival freshman quarterback, because he'd been the guy in the area. He was the freshman that everyone was talking about at quarterback. And he was a baseball player. So when I came in the spring, we never really crossed paths. Because I would go lift in the morning, but he never would because he had baseball. So we kind of just would see each other in passing that first semester, the spring. Never really got around each other until the summer workouts. And I actually I beat him out. I beat out everyone that was there. I beat out the older guys. I was the fastest person there. I had a big arm. I came from a good pedigree, never not started ever in my life, but I got there. And then that's when I noticed it didn't matter how good I was. It didn't matter any of that. I wasn't going to play quarterback like that. It wasn't going to happen. It was out of my hands, out of my control. But again, I'm a team player. I'm not going to bitch and complain and go crying and ask to transfer to another school. Whatever needs to be done for the team to win. I'm happy to be playing football. And like I said, I always played both ways, so it wasn't an issue. Once I made the transition, I just wanted to play football. And I've always loved hitting people anyways. I've never been the biggest, but I've always been physical. So defense better suited me at the end of the day from a mentality perspective, because I can at least go hit people. I can do some damage. So I got through high school. That was really the only time I really felt any like true like racism vibes and pertaining to me as an African American. Got to college again. It was a college in a really small town, a white town. There was a Tyson chicken plant in town, so there was some Hispanics there working at the factory. But the college was very, very diverse because it was like a small school, but it was an athlete school. And the football team was like the biggest group on campus, and it was like 80% Black dudes, from like the hood of Florida, Texas, Cali, St. Louis, KC. I mean, there were Black dudes from all over the country. And then it was like small town white kids from like the smallest towns in Missouri where like there were no Black people. So it was like this interesting dynamic on the team, so it was a very diverse team, very diverse college. So there was never really nothing in college that was really an issue. Obviously, there'd always be some asshole somewhere, but usually he got handled anyways. So, or everyone knew this dude's a piece of shit. So like, whatever. But usually that stuff got handled. If someone decided to step out of line and show their true colors, that wasn't the school to do that. Get caught at a party. So, in my coaching career, I've definitely been the minority hire a few times. Like, I know that for a fact. Like, you're the only Black dude on an all white staff that has a bunch of Black kids, and most of the Black kids are in your position group, or most of the minorities are in your, you know what I mean? So it's like, but that's what it is. Yeah. Like that's just how it goes. So I know for sure I've definitely been a minority hire, which is okay. I mean, it's shit. It gets my foot in the door. If I'm the best candidate, or if I've been recommended for this job, I'm going to do my best and run with it, which is what I've done in my career. So in the U.S., I've never really faced any. I wouldn't say I haven't had any discrimination. I got passed over for the DC job at my last school a few times by guys who were white, that had less experience than I did. And I'd been at the school for, a few years. So I didn't take that very well, but I didn't let it affect my work. I took the talks I had with the head coach, I took them to heart. If he said he needed to see these things for him to feel comfortable, I said, okay, I'll work on it. Again, I'm not going to bitch and complain, even though I feel different, even though I know different. I'm just going to work on it. Like, if this is what needs to be seen, and I want to stay here, then I'm going to work on these things. If I don't like it, then I leave. You quit, whatever. But I'm not a quitter. Everyone that knows me knows I don't quit. So, yeah, I would say that's really one situation, one negative that I felt is I got passed over definitely by some guys of lesser experience for sure. And so I would say that's one issue I had. Other than that, everything's been fine. I've never really had a problem. Europe has been really good to me, specifically the Cowboys. My first ever DC opportunity has been with the Cowboys. First ever head coach opportunity has been with the Cowboys. I've always been welcomed with open arms here. There's a lot of minority coaches all over Europe. I'd probably say if there's any young coaches in the U.S. that see this, that's minority, and you want to get your chops busted early as a DC and as a head coach, Europe is a place to try to get that done. There's a lot of brothers out here that have been out here for years. They came out here as players and never left. One of my O-line coach is a former Marine. He never left. Came out here on deployment, played, never left. My OC, Tony Moore, came out here as a player, been in Hamburg, all over the north, Cologne, never left. And, so we probably have the most diverse staff, maybe outside of Berlin, probably somewhere up north that's got a lot of minorities in their city. Our staff is super diverse. I mean, we got 3 Black coaches. We got our DB coach is female. We got Turkish guys on staff. I mean, we're super diverse. We got everybody on staff. So, yeah, Munich's always been good to me. Europe's been good to me. I have no complaints, honestly.
Perfect.
Never really dealt with too much racism out here. I've had a few run-ins, but it was crazy people. So,
Yeah. Then stay in Munich. Stay there. Don't go south.
Yeah,
just dodge Austria. Don't come here.
I mean, yeah, Austria. No one's in Austria has been calling for me, so I guess I'm okay.
You know, one of my best friends, Islam Amado, he used to be the Vikings running back. And he told me only in the last season where he played, he had a black running back coach, and he was so happy about it. He's like,
Yeah.
it changed everything. Like the coach, he connected so good with him, and he was treating, he just felt normal.
Yeah. And that's the whole point, right? It's like someone that you can relate to, like as a minority. Yeah, the coach. So it's going to happen two ways. Either it's a coach who really doesn't like minorities, but he knows he needs you, or he doesn't have an option. He has to coach you. So he's just either going to coach you well, but just not create a relationship with you, or he's going to be an asshole and not create a relationship with you. So you kind of feel you're on your own. You know, this dude doesn't care about you. So like, that's why I've always taken the approach, whether white, black, whatever, in life, period. Like I like to create relationships with people because you just never know. So the relationship is going to be more important than some outcome that I'm blindly trying to accomplish. So, yeah, I mean, but it's good to have people of different backgrounds on your staff. It's different ways people can be reached, you know. So yeah, that's important. Yeah, but again, here that's limited too. You know, I really don't know how many minority coaches we have out here. You know, so it's maybe that's something to dive into. You know, and try to create some traction there, and create some education there, and try to push some guys and get jobs. You know, so they can really do good work out here for the future of the sport.
Next question. You're now the head coach of the Munich Cowboys, so it's going to be pretty tough for you to answer. But our friend in Paris told me straight that I didn't upload it yet. I have to cut it today. He told me that the GFL sucks. Wait, let me recap. And even Stephen Parker made a screenshot for me. So it's guys, Parker there. Oh no, he said the GFL is a joke. He said it's a joke.
And we talk almost every day, so I know how he feels.
But what do you say? What is the problem with the GFL? Why does like the GFL gets attacked lately with the new league that's coming up, and what is the issues? Because to be honest, when I was in Munich, it was quite different because JC Craig said, I can't pay you, I have no money, if probably just get here by your own, and if possible bring people with you and players and whatever. And he told me like it's hard in the south, because in the south in Germany you have soccer and basketball, so it's very hard to compete and get sponsors. So it's quite different, I guess, from the south, but we all know the north is very good. But and he was in Kiel with the Hurricanes, and they had money. So, but he's still saying the GFL is a joke. So, tell me, what is the problem with the GFL, and what would you change, or what would you hope
I mean,
change?
Little Melee. I mean, he can be a little much. I mean, he's been in the GFL for almost his entire career here, outside of Poland and France. So to say it's a joke, it's quite a bit of a stretch. I think a lot of it comes from people just not like everything today. There's people will make assumptions with the lack of information, with the lack of the complete knowledge of something. So what I've at least been able to learn since I've been here, and now our president is part of the GFL board, but he's always been very honest with me, about things in the league and in the league management. So the biggest thing that I've seen, that the guy Huber, right? Like the guy who's the president of it, everyone thinks that he is solely making decisions by himself. Right? So and then everyone always has something to bitch about, whether it's true, whether they have facts, they'll bitch and whatever. So obviously there's been just a pure lack of management from the league, period. Like the lack of push and things like that. Clubs have had to take a lot on their own, which is very true. A lot of this is in the past, though. What a lot of people don't understand is there's been, since I came back, for sure, I know they've been trying to change things at the top for a while. But again, you have to get the right people in that want to do it. So people bitch about it, but no one's stepping in saying, I will do the work to make the change. It's just bitch, 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 complain, complain, complain. But they're not gonna put themselves on the line and step up and say, this is what I believe can be a solution. This is what we can do to work towards that solution. They're just gonna bitch and complain. So it took some time for the people in management. Some people stepped down. They got some new blood in. So a lot of the new blood is pushing to make changes. There's been things in the works. So like the little TV deal that the Elf is all the only thing that they're really pushing. The GFL, we already had that planned in 2019 or 2020. It was already going to be a game of the week in 2020. That was already done. So the TV deal the GFL already has. It's already been in progress. They were doing that silly little show late at night. And then, they've been showing the championship the last 2 years. So it's already all been in the works. So anyone crying about that it's just a lack of understanding that these things have already been in the works. Like it's things already happening, already in motion. They're not waiting to be in motion. There's some things with the league is now trying to get into the actual federation, like the whole German federation. So it's not the league doing things by itself. It's like the actual country of Germany, from a sports standpoint, is going to recognize football and be able to support football. So there's things like that that's going on, which would then, again, if things are just better at the top, it all trickles down. It should trickle down to the clubs. So there's a lot of things that are already in motion to progress and make things better. But it just takes time. And again, we're just in an instant gratification generation. Like everyone thinks shit's just going to change tonight, tomorrow, or it's going to change because they're bitching and complaining on a post, So can things be better? Things can always be better. I mean, shit, look at the NFL, look at the NCAA. There's glaring holes everywhere. And that's the epitome of the sport. So to think there's not going to be holes here and things are going to need to be better here, you're crazy. So the bitch and whine about it is for me is pointless. If you don't like it, then leave the country, go coach somewhere else. Like don't complain about it. If you think it's actually better, it's no different than the imports who you might have an import on your team, and just because they don't get what they want, they think they're going to leave and go to another team and shit's going to be better. And then they leave and go to another team and figure out they don't get paid on time. Everything they were promised is full of shit. The coaches, no one cares. And then they realize, things actually aren't better on the other side. You know what I mean? So, there's things that can be better in the GFL. I know for a fact things are being worked on to get to that point. It just takes time. And then there's a corona pandemic, so now shit's really, up in the air. But I know the league is pushing forward. Whether we play 10 games this year or we play 6, we're going to play. This thing's going to slow down at some point. We have to take pointers from these other leagues that have pushed forward and played. So there's none of that. Like we're pushing forward. We're going to play. I do know that much, and I know a lot of us coaches that are in the GFL, head coaches that talk to each other, we're on board. We're pushing. We're pushing to work together to be able to play this year. So I mean, with Melee, you just got to kind of take that as it is what it is. I love him. It's my little brother. But he gets a little feisty when he talks. So yeah. But he's a young guy. I've been pushing him to take opportunities and go coach, be head coach, do all those things. So it's his time to travel around, experience something. Because then you never truly know, until you start experiencing something new. So his heart's in the right place, but
and he's smart. I can tell. He's like he knows his thing about strength and everything.
Yeah, that's my guy. I love him. We talk every day, pretty much. So yeah.
That's perfect. So you coaches are like all connected and help each other out the whole time.
I'm not as connected as he is. I kind of just keep to myself. And I've done a good amount of podcasts and stuff, and there's guys that know me. There's guys I've talked to at conventions and things like that. But he's probably more active in being connected. I'm more so, if I talk to you, I talk to you. If I don't, I don't. There's not very many guys that I don't care for. There's a few that I think are doing more damage here than are doing good. There's some guys that come out here and they're just on vacation. They're not real football coaches, in my opinion. but yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't really cross paths. I really only had one issue with the coach, and I let him know what I felt about him. So to his face. So that's how I roll. I'm not going to get on the internet and talk about it. I'll just say it to your face. So
that's how it should
that's
be.
that.
Perfect. So you're gonna stay in Munich? Are you planning to stay in Munich with your wife?
I mean, as of now, I'm not going anywhere. I mean, we had our son last year. He just turned 1 this week.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you. So, I mean, as of now, Munich is my home. I have not explored any other options. I've turned down some teams that have reached out to me in the past. But obviously, at some point, I do have a family to take care of. So,
so even
either
if
I'm going to be able to stay in Munich and do that, or you gotta make the big boy decision. So,
okay.
But for now, we're here.
Okay. So even if Cowboys are gonna cut you, they would never cut you. But
that's the business.
Yeah. Would you stay in Munich? Like if they cut you tomorrow, would you stay in Munich?
I mean, I can't just you can't leave anywhere until you have a job. So
yeah, of course. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if I had a job, then yeah, we'd have to make moves or see what's best for the family. But I mean, I have a little side job. That if something happened, maybe I could parlay that into full time. I have a mini job. But other than that, like, but that's just the business. That's what I've had to talk to my fiance about. That those things could happen. Whether we want to be here or not.
Yeah.
We can have a bad year, and they're like, well, it's too many bad years. We gave you a chance to get things right. You had one good year, and the rest have been so-so. Even though all these other things are good with the club that you've done, we're not winning enough games. We're going to cut your contract. Okay, it's the business. It's just a business, So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, we're here. We're not. There's no offers on the table for me anywhere, so not considering anything. So we're here, we're living and raising our child, doing the best I can to keep things rolling here with the Cowboys. So
perfect. I like the way you are, coach. I like your mentality. I like your vibes, because I remember when I was in Munich, like Parker is always the loud guy, and when I'm beside him, I'm just getting hyped up and I'm getting angry for no reason at someone. I'm like, and when it just like when I just go your direction, you just send out this calmness. You're like, chill, everything is gonna be okay. If you scream, it doesn't gonna change anything. Always like I think that's very, very important. It's very important.
Yeah, I mean, it's just my personality in general. But that's the thing too, is that's why, like, I may not scream a lot, but it's like once I do flip the switch, the asshole comes out. It's like, you messed up. Like, it's if I'm going to this point to get your attention, you really know you've pushed me too far. Like I gave you a chance, and now, because I think that was a big change last year too. Is like I said, I was always kind of balancing it out. But last year, by the end of our last month of practice, we started kicking guys like out of practice. Like if they showed up and didn't know the plays and just kept messing up, they were done practicing for the day. Just done. I was just done. I'm like, go stand by your coach. Like, you're not getting any more reps. And that's the thing.
Wow.
You start take the reps away. Like, if you can't do what we're asking you to do and do it, like, I'm not worried about you making a mistake, but like, if I go, what's this coverage? And they just stare at me and they don't know. And it's like our number one coverage. Then I'm like, you're done. Like, no, you don't deserve it. You've not proven to me you deserve reps. Like, get out. Then, but then guess what started happening less and less to those guys that were doing
open up.
They started. They were coming to practice knowing their shit now.
Yeah.
Or you could see them studying before practice, or like they're actually talking to someone like, hey, like, what's this? Like, so now we're forcing them to be accountability.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you don't want me to be an asshole, just do what we're telling you to do and know your shit. Easy. If you make a mistake because we never did it, that's not the problem, because we'll correct it and then don't do it again, or at least do it the best that you can, and we'll continue to work on it. But when you have no idea what we're doing and you show up to practice going half-assed, like, no, not going to be accepted. Like, I'd rather kick you out of practice before, because it's like poison.
It
If
is.
you let that guy do it, and then the next guy sees it, everyone starts to behave that way.
Yeah.
You let one guy cuss you out as a coach,
Yeah.
and you don't do anything about it, the rest of them are going to think that's okay to talk to you that way.
Yeah.
So you have to set a tone. Like I said, I like being the player coach. I like being understanding. I like getting to know you, but I'm not going to enable you to be a piece of shit. Period. You can go do that on another team. I don't have time for that. We only have 2 days a week to practice, and there's 130 guys on the roster. Whether he's better than you or not, at least he's here every day learning. So he's gonna get good. So I'd rather play with those guys. So it's just the path you choose. Everybody's different. So that's just how I've done it. So far, so good. It hasn't translated into a lot of wins yet, but we're a competitive football team, and the wins will come.
And trust me, that's the way to go. So I'm gonna cut it here because I have to tell you something. What I don't want to be on it, because I'm playing right now with the Danube Dragons, because I used to be a Dragon 8-9 years ago. It's so hard that I don't lose the love to play football. It's so bad. It's so bad. So I'm very happy that you have that mentality, and I know people are very happy with you, because I just can see, I just can tell. And the people who playing in Munich, who I talk to, they are like also happy. So you're doing a very great job, coach. You're doing a very great job.
Appreciate it. Yeah, man, I got lucky, man. You come in with the vision. Like I said, the members of the board that are still here from when I got here, they've allowed me to use this vision and give me the time. And the time has produced, good talent. The time has produced a good enough product where coaches want to be here, want to do it for free, want to do the extra stuff for free. So, I mean, that's only a blessing, and I just hope one day we can get the finances that I can take care of those people. I've always said, if we ever got that big sponsor, I'd take care of my people first, before we bring in 1,000 imports. No, take care of the coaches who've been here, take care of the players who've been here. That's what's important. That's how you build something. And I don't ever want to take the Frankfurt model. I'd never want to be a team like that. As you can see, it's not sustainable. You're going to run into issues at some point. So, you just want to do things right. You want to look at Swedish Hall. You want to look at Braunschweig. They built a proper program. They took the time. And there's a reason why they're dominant. Dresden, there's a reason. They took the time to skip steps.
Maybe I can help you out. I know many companies, and maybe they're willing to sponsor, because I'm trying to help also out the Danube Dragons. I send out many applications, and some people are interested because it's different in Vienna. But Munich, I don't know who is like in charge of that, but I think Munich, if you do it the right way, you guys are gonna have a big chance for a big sponsor. Anyways, so my last question.
Go ahead.
What is your biggest goal for this year? What is your biggest goal?
Just to play, man. The biggest goal would be just to play, get a chance to showcase where we're at, what we got. Obviously, a big goal would be to, if there is any postseason, just to earn a chance. That's what I tell the guys. We can talk about playoffs all we want. You can talk about a championship, but you have to earn the chance to be there, which means you got to win games. Period. You have to earn the right to be in the playoffs, and then you have to earn the right to win every week till you have the championship in your hands. It has to be earned. We're not just going to show up and get that shit done, period. So that would be the goal, is just get the season started, put ourselves in the position to be in the playoffs, and then we go from there. And but we got to take that one game at a time, one practice at a time. And guys have to take it serious. That's what it's all about. This is not some bullshit. You want to play top league, then you got to take it serious.
Perfect. Thank you, Coach.
We're close. Yep.
Coach, thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.
Always.
I think I will guess. Maybe I will plan like a come together with all coaches on Zoom, and with different kinds of players, with some CFL players of mine who retired, and some different coaches, and maybe we can talk about some different topics like changing out and stuff.
Yeah.
for
Whenever, man.
for people who just want to start coaching or want to move to Europe to coach or to play, so they get a little bit more insights. So, Coach, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Coach. If you need anything, just message me, right?
Will do.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Ciao.
Bye-bye.